So yesterday, Justin Trudeau revealed his new cabinet for the upcoming minority parliament. There aren't many groundbreaking changes. A lot of the big dogs are still in cabinet, even if some of them have moved around to different portfolios. And so you might see Chrystia Freeland take a domestic role instead of an international role, but none of those changes are really that significant. But I want to talk about one particular position, which is a new one. Mona Fortier is the new minister in charge of middle-class prosperity. And I want to talk about how this portfolio showcases the vapid nature of Justin Trudeau's government and the kind of signaling it tries to use over any real transformative politics. At the end of the day, this position was just about signaling to people that the Trudeau government cares about the middle class, even if they actually don't care about the middle class. Governments do this sort of thing sometimes. For instance, the government in Alberta has a minister responsible for red tape reduction. You create these positions because their name alone can signal a sort of political message to your base, to the electorate, to the media, so that Justin Trudeau can say, well, no one cares about the middle class more than I do. I care about them so much that I created a specific portfolio in my cabinet for protecting the middle class and promoting its prosperity. No one else has ever done that. The Conservatives have never done that. I'm the middle class champion. But at the end of the day, it's really largely meaningless. And there's a whole bunch of reasons why this is meaningless. One, the definition of middle class in our political discourse is utterly broken. I've noted this before. Other scholars have noted this before. It's such a broad and nebulous term as to be meaningless beyond focused academic discussions. In our political discourse, middle class basically includes anybody that's not in the top or bottom 10%. If you're not noticeably rich or you're not noticeably poor, then you are deemed middle class, at least in terms of the popular discourse. So the middle class is effectively everybody. But in reality, when we talk about middle class from Trudeau's perspective, what we often see is him defending fairly well-off people. Not the rich, but not people that are considered average in terms of their income. For instance, when Justin Trudeau put forward a middle-class tax cut in his last government, it was classified by messaging as something that would help regular people. But the benefits of that tax cut went almost entirely to the top 25% of income filers. If you were in the bottom 75% of Canadians in terms of income, aka the majority of Canadians, the vast majority, you didn't benefit from that. So at the end of the day, that tax cut wasn't really for the middle class in the way people understand the term middle class, but was actually a slight shift in income from the very rich to the sort of rich. And that's what it was. But that's a harder thing to sell than middle class tax cut. You can use that language. It also has to be said that if you really do believe that the middle class deserves to have its prosperity protected, there really isn't a need for one portfolio. This portfolio should just be part of the mandate of almost every other position in the cabinet. Almost every other position should have as its goal the promotion of prosperity of the middle class. And to create this position, all you're doing is adding another cabinet level minister, adding another person who's going to get paid a little bit more money, and you're not actually adding a voice that's going to deal with a particular issue in any kind of necessary way. Again, this is effectively using cabinet as a political advertising tool. That's what this is. In effect, Canadian taxpayers are paying for Liberal campaign messaging for the next election. But the biggest issue here, I feel, is that it's Justin Trudeau signifying that while the rich are taken care of in his government, because we've seen this, Justin Trudeau has stood with the rich and powerful. He hasn't attacked their tax privileges. The CRA has written off obligations for some of the richest and most powerful Canadians, but they haven't done so for regular folks. And Justin Trudeau has refused to raise wealth taxes and capital gains taxes and financial transactions taxes and corporate taxes to actually hit the rich in the pocketbook, to actually do the sorts of things needed to shift power and privilege away from the wealthy and towards the middle class. And so while the rich are taken care of, the middle class get a portfolio. What about working class people? What about the poor? What about the economically insecure? There's no portfolio for them. Justin Trudeau has signaled loud and clear that most of his cabinet is there for the rich and powerful. There's a token appointment for the middle class, and for everybody else, it's tough cookies. There's no representation for you. There's no representation for the working class. There's no representation for the poor. There's no representation for the unemployed. Those people don't merit a position. And so that if you really are going to create a cabinet level position to address economic inequality and to address the promotion of prosperity, why would you cover the middle class, quote unquote? Why wouldn't you cover working class and poor people, which I feel is a much more worthwhile investment, and elements of the population that have more immediate and complicated needs than the middle class does? And we have to also be 100% clear that if Justin Trudeau really was invested in helping the broad middle class, which if we use the political definition would include, all but the richest people, then he would be doing very different things. He wouldn't be creating a ministry of middle class prosperity. He would be basically implementing the entire NDP platform. He would be implementing Pharmacare, universal, single payer. He would be implementing a dental care plan. He would be implementing a universal child care plan in addition to the very good policy he has around the child care benefit. He would be implementing the end of student loan interest, which makes education more expensive for poor and middle class students than it does for the wealthiest. He would be implementing tax policies on the rich to shift power and to shift wealth away from the rich and towards the working class, middle class, and poor. That's what Justin Trudeau would be doing if he gave one single damn about regular people, but he doesn't. This is a political tool. It is not an actual means to achieve anything concrete. Justin Trudeau has this so he can sound like he cares about the middle class. But any government that's actually fighting for regular people would not signal that action through a token portfolio in the cabinet, but would rather signal that action through numerous concrete policies designed to shift economic, social, and political power away from the few and towards the many. And in this minority parliament, there's an opportunity to do that. Justin Trudeau can work with Jagmeet Singh. Together, they add up to more than 180 seats, their two parties. And poll after poll after poll has shown that Canadians, and Liberal voters especially, want the sort of policies the NDP ran on. They want universal social programs. They want to tax the rich. They want a Green New Deal. They want universal housing programs. They want all the sorts of things that would help the regular people, help them build prosperity. Not just the middle class. It would include poor and working class people, unlike Trudeau's plan, but it would help the middle class as well. At least the middle class as defined by, average income earners. And Justin Trudeau has an opportunity to make that happen. More than giving Fortier a token cabinet position, real meaningful cooperation with Jagmeet Singh's New Deal for Canadians would be the best message Justin Trudeau could send to show that he cares about middle class prosperity. But I'm not holding my breath that he's going to make that happen.